Welcome back to Financial Fundamentals. I'm Reggie. Thank you so much for joining us today. I wanted just to talk to you guys very briefly about a very important subject that I like to talk about is the mind-body connection. All right, so what is the mind-body connection? Well, the mind-body connection, if I were to give you a more vivid answer, it would go something like this. It is the connection of how your mind can control the body, but times when your body becomes greater than the mind, meaning to say that your body has these memorized habits, reactions, tendencies, right? Then it's going, when you're in a mindset of, oh, my body is doing its thing, so you don't, let's say, want to, or even maybe think about working on the things that you really need to. So you duly avoid feeling the pain, right? But what does that do? You might delay the feeling of pain for the moment, but you know eventually that pain is going to really affect you later on. And again, I'm not speaking from, this scientific, well, if I were to give you empirical science, then yes, I'm talking from a very scientific viewpoint. And I'm telling you what, the mind-body connection is so powerful that if you don't have the mental capacity to have dominance over your body, well, there's just going to be things that you're going to struggle with. So I invite you to really think about, again, we would talk about fundamentals, right? And when it leads to financial things in life, it's really it's hard to think about it. There's a lot of messages out there in the real world, okay? So when it comes to money, right? Money, leads you to, money's the root of all evil, blah, blah, money is bad, people that want money are bad people, or people that have too much money there's always these generalizations, right? So, I'm here to tell you, I don't have money. If you really were to look at me compared to everybody else out there, I ain't got nothing. I got squat. So why am I doing these kinds of channels and shows and telling you? Well, I'm telling you right now, this video is being recorded as proof right now. I'm telling you that I ain't got nothing right now, but I am working very hard on myself, right? On myself, on my craft, on what things I'm doing, how I'm getting better. And again, I'm getting better every day. The mindset is Reggie, right? Reggie, always, what is that? It's from the Toy Story little short. That was great. Let me circle back to that, right? Reggie finds a way, right? Right? So that's, Reggie always overcomes, Reggie finds a way. I mean, there's a first part there that I'm not quoting verbatim. But the idea here is that no matter what I'm faced with, right? Until it becomes a life or death situation where it does end up taking my life, well, I can still decide on what I'm going to do. So I need to learn how to decide well, because in times of, you could say, in times of plenty, in times of when there's a season of lots, right? There's an abundance. Then you should learn not how to be so frivolous in spending, and know how to build up a nest egg, and using that build up to create more, so that when you do want to just say, hey, you know what, I'm done, then you can do so, right? That's the idea. Now, this whole idea of, working so many years and racking a 401k and retiring, that's not a bad idea. But for me, for some, that's just not okay. It just doesn't sound appealing. It doesn't sound like, I mean, sure, but what am I looking for? I'm looking for that fulfillment in my life. Whether I make $1 million in my lifetime, to me, I'm not going to hold myself to a dollar value. You know what I'm going to do instead? is I'm gonna hold myself to, hey, look, how many people did I help? How many people did I impact? How many young people got to hear from me, learn from my experience and my f ups, right? And take that and go, you know what? Yeah, no, I don't want to be that at all. I don't want to be that at all. Right? So you gotta look. You gotta understand yourself from this standpoint, right? You know, yeah, maybe you're facing a tougher time, right? Maybe not, but I feel like for me, I've seen enough negativity in my life that kind of spans the full spectrum of this existence we call life, to where I feel like, yeah, you know what, I've lived plenty. So, you know, I mean, if I were to, you know, I'm not gonna do it dumb, but if I were, you know, I would say to myself, you know what, this is good. This is good. You know, but I know I can do more. More can be done. More people can be helped, and you know what? As more I think, the longer I sit on that idea of more people can be helped, then it becomes not okay. Then it becomes I'm not done. So think about the mind-body connection. Okay, so let's circle back to that first topic that I was really intending to talk about. The mind-body connection. There will be points in your life, and especially if you're in times of transition, when you're growing from your last phase to your next phase, when you're learning new skills, when you're getting these new aha moments, right? You should always have those often. I can't tell you should have them, you know, once a day, once a week, once a month, once a year, but you should have them often enough, so that your mind is so stimulated that your brain, your mind it stays plastic. The word is plasticity, right? So when your brain remains this level of plasticity, when you're absorbing information, it's processing, right? Then your body can be commanded to do these things. Alright, so I'm telling you, I'm really experiencing some great changes in my life right now. I can tell you, I'm seeing some improvements. Really getting at it, and it's motivation. It's motivation. I want people to know that, look, I'm not anybody special. I had special in the sense of like, yeah, maybe I had a heart attack at 36, juvenile polyps at 26. Right? I've had 2 colonoscopies in my life, right? And all these different procedures. Both sides of my family, none of our men have lived longer than 60 at this point. Well, except for my grandfather on my dad's side. But I really believe, since he actually grew up in China, that he grew up eating all of these really healthy things in China. That's my belief. And then by the time my parents moved to the Philippines, and they were born in the Philippines, then Filipino culture is kind of very relaxed on the style of eating, if you know what I mean with that one. So just I think that's maybe a detriment in the sense that maybe eating lechon like twice a week is just not the best thing, not the best way to go about your diet. You know what I mean? So to me though, right? Understanding that, making that shift, and then telling people that this stuff works, right? And it's not just those guys who have 5 million, 10 million subscribers on YouTube telling you it's the real thing. Well, it's me right now trying this, who's got nobody really looking at me, and I want people to know that I did this because I knew at some point in the future you were going to be curious. And I'm not going to spend time going back and talking about this anymore. I'm not. It's all documented now. This is all just me, right? I'm not trying to like create this, scheme. It's not a scheme. I'm just telling you that I have a vision. My vision is I want people to learn about the fundamentals, right? And I put financial in front of it only because it does. That's like, that's an attraction, right? It's like, oh, Oh, financial. Okay, yeah, let's look at that. And then once you start opening the box, like, oh, whoa, wait. Oh, there's psychological, there's neuroscience, there's physics. Sorry, quantum physics, actually. There's quantum physics in this. I'm telling you, man, there's fundamentals. But all together, when you use these new foundational theories of science that have now been explored for many, many years, applying that to the human psyche, and also using that to your advantage, right? Now we can then see that. I think you're starting to see some of these things now that exist. I haven't done it yet, but it sounds very intriguing. Biohacking. Biohacking is where you do things to, you do certain physical things along with diet things to make your body do certain things. Biohacking. Right? So, well, here's a very simple form of biohacking, right? Working out. That's a very simple form of biohacking, right? You get on a treadmill, run, sweat, right? Lose calories, gain some muscle. Well, once you start doing more weights, you can get more muscle, right? So, what am I talking about here, right? Mind-body connection. What can you control? Can you control putting on those tennis shoes and walking out the house and just walk a couple blocks? Can you control not picking up that Coke, that soda, right? And then drinking 2 of those a day, right? Right, so those are some of the things. Mind-body connection. When you start seeing your body crave certain things that are not good for you, that's when you should really start doing this little audit. Like, wait, my body be wanting Cheetos at 12 midnight. Yeah, I know I had a joint, but should I be really eating that at that time? A lot, right? Like every night for like 5 weeks? That's probably not a good idea, right? Think about that. I mean, have I done that in my younger days? Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. So, what I'm telling you guys, and I'm being very, very... Man, my allergies are just running me right now. You've got to make a conscious decision that, one, your body is not in control here. There may be instances you do want your body in control, but there are going to be instances where you don't want it in control. Right? Here's a separational answer to, and I'll give you a real life example. Right? Imagine a car and a driver. So imagine the car is actually, if you've seen Cars, like the movie, right? Imagine that is you. That's your life, is you're a car, right? And then suddenly I open the door and pluck out a human being. That's your brain. So that brain is what's inside of you, and then suddenly, once you get in the car, your brain, and the car becomes an extension of your brain. Would you not agree with that statement? Yes. Right? You do. Once you get in the car, your brain is now controlling the car. Right? Because really, what are your legs and your hands doing? They're controlling the car. So ultimately, the car becomes an extension of your brain. Pretty freaky, right? Well, what if you didn't fix your brakes? What if you didn't change your oil? Right? What if you put leaded gasoline in your car? You're like, what, leaded gasoline? Or what if you, okay, here's a royal faux pas, right, of all measures, right? What if you put diesel in a gasoline engine, or vice versa? Right? So what if you didn't know? What if it didn't do anything bad, but it just did over time? You deteriorate because of that. Those are some of the things you have to consider now. What are you doing to your body, right? If you're partying like hardcore, you're 21, 22, you're like, going to all the raves, right? And driving everywhere with buddies, right? Take heed. You know what I mean? Yeah, your body is functioning properly now. You're pretty much low mileage. You know what I mean? That's probably the equivalent of like taking a brand new 1995 Civic, and then like not giving it an oil change for the first 10 years of its life, right? Something of that sort. So when I'm referring to mind-body connection, right? You have to know that sometimes you do want the body to be really good at driving. You think about Tesla full self-driving, right? You know, I mean, I'm sure it's safe. I don't know if you've seen these on YouTube. I've watched a few videos, right? The Tesla FSD videos, the full self-driving monitoring videos, the surveillance videos, right? So when they submit them on YouTube, these guys put it into a reel. It's nicely edited, right? It's perfect. So, but what is it doing, right? It's saving people's lives, right? But slowly but surely, our reliance on technology and not our mental selves is going to be our destruction. It's going to be, look, you become mindless. You know what I'm saying? Like, shouldn't you keep hearing these things about being mindful. What do you think these things are going to do? I mean, I'm not against the technology. I'm not, this isn't a rant about that, right? What I'm really hitting at, what I really want you to understand is that mind-body connection, right? I was at a point in my life where my body was really in control. All my emotions were just feeding my mentality, and my actions reflected what I was feeling. I was eating my feelings, right? Whether I was in denial or not of it at that time, there's just things in life that you thought you wanted, you didn't get, and so you're acting them out in a certain way that may be harmful to your health. And I remember doing that, right? So be careful about that. Are you displaying behaviors? It's if you're getting warning signs from people, then there's a side of like, hey, are these guys just messing with me? Is it really happening? Or do I really need to take a look at myself and make this evaluation to how I'm becoming? Well, that's not too bad, right? So introspection, right? Introspection, taking a look at yourself, right? So if you think you're doing fine, great. Hey, maybe you're not watching this video, you're not paying attention to this, but if you've got a solid mind-body connection, if you're a person who is in line with their goals, right? They understand what they want out of life and they're going for it, right? Well, these are the men and women that you see sometimes in the Olympics. These are the men and women that sometimes you see as pro athletes, right? They just have that complete focus and they dedicate, and that's it. They're all in, right? There's some advantages to that, right? So, but as a young one, who's influencing you, right? Who are you hanging around the most? Are you hanging around, individuals who just want to horse around and not really improve themselves, right? Or are you hanging around people that are having these big goals and dreams at young ages, and they're like, whoa, how do you plan on doing that? Well, we're going to do it like this, like this, like this. The confidence and just the mentality to go after it. I don't care if you do know what you're talking about. Those are the ones that that keep messing it up until they get it right, and then they just do it with a smile. Are you hanging out with those guys and gals? You need to do that. So, if you want a better quality of life, there's a day and age now, right? You can totally choose what side you want to be on. Are you going to be on the side that's always going to complain? Are you going to be on the side that's going to be like, nah, you know what? Oh, that sucks. Oh, this sucks. Or, oh, I wish we had this. Oh, I wish we had that. Always be a victim, right? Or are you going to be like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just make it better for ourselves. Let's just do what we can. Make it better. Forget the noise, because everything else is noise. There's politics, whatever things you don't want to be a part of, you don't want to listen to. Don't get it out of your life. Only keep around the people and the things that are going to help you get better. How about that?